am here with our very, very special guest. A lot of you guys probably know who he is. Nick Cypher, the man, the myth, the legend, an incredible trader,
Mhm.
has done exceptionally well on Breakout. I think you were telling me. In general on trading, I want to definitely talk about some of your strategies that you have been using the last few months in this market, and what you're thinking of this. Interesting market, where we are potentially in the 4-year cycle. Everyone automatically thinks this time the 4-year cycle is over. They thought that last time, they thought that the time before, and the time before. Since the 1800s, they thought it was over. And I'm just kidding, but we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
We'll talk about those type of things. Definitely want to give you the floor. I mean, how about we get, for people who have never seen you before, what's a little bit of your background? I'm sure for the one person who probably doesn't know who you are.
Man, well, I've been in crypto for a very long time, since like 2016. Got into it with both my brothers, and my older brother, Crypto Face, got really big with it. But we just been this family that's been in this game for a long time. We worked on and created Market Cipher, and we spread that, and a lot of influencers and traders now use that as like their go-to oscillator. And last 2 years, I've been working on my own YouTube channel, my own journey. I became like Nick Cypher. I used to go by Flopping Groper. That was like my pseudonym in Discords. So I always had this kind of like active role in the trading world,
Mhm.
but I never like, I was always in Discords, you know what I mean? So I had this slower, kind of more methodical approach to my trading journey. There was no shortcuts for me with my trading journey. So it has been like just tons and tons of trial and error. Um, you know, in terms of like profitability for me, like it had been on and off. Like I would have a great year and then a stupid year and then all that stuff. But recently, like I said, like last 2 years, since I really dialed in on like my YouTube and like showing up every day, learning that discipline and stuff, it's been this amazing journey, kind of quarter by quarter, taking the price action as it comes, and um, using anchored VWAP has been like very important to my strategy, and just a lot of like polishing the craft. You know what I mean? Like, and what it's culminated into is there are certain months out of the year where I can go on funded accounts and pull out like 20, 30 grand or whatever, and I can top leaderboards with the stuff that I've learned from anchored VWAP and Market Cipher and stuff. And so that's just been a crazy level of growth for me that's like has shocked me, because not many traders can say that they can do that. So it's like, dang, I guess like I am on the right path, you know what I mean? I wouldn't say I'm like there yet, you know, but also in the trading world, you can never really say you're there yet. You know, there's always like another level to it. But I'm
Mhm.
really happy with like the growth that I've personally seen. I'm happy with the growth I've seen in my VIP. And I'm just proud to be like here standing with my colleagues like you, man. You've been doing work with Market Cipher for longer than I, or just as long as I have, man. You know what I'm
Wow,
saying?
it's goes
So
by quick. Yeah.
yeah, man, it's been a long time, man. But we're happy to have you as well, Evan. You know, you're one of the legends in the space. So thank you, bro. Thank you
Well,
for
thank
having me.
you. Yeah, it's always an honor to, you know, use your indicator work with you guys, and be part of the great Market Cipher community. I mean,
Mhm.
your brother was one of the first people, that really was I think big in, trading YouTube, crypto, Twitter, and all that, back in
Mhm.
the, I don't know, was it 2019, 2020, those kind of areas, even before kind of my time on YouTube. So, you know, it's just OG level at that point. So yeah, I see you got that chart you're looking at there. How about?
Yeah, man. I right now I'm eyeballing actually a short from Bitcoin. So I like to look for like high time frame support and resistance. And what we just slammed into on Bitcoin is this previous monthly low here. This is like the September low right here that we just slammed into. So since we're coming into a new week, like the timing is such where usually you do get like returns to last week's VWAP. So I haven't been shorting until this point. But I did enter like a couple little shorts on like a breakout account and stuff on my client funded
But wait
account,
a second,
hoping
bro.
to
sorry to interrupt you. On your chart's like inverted kind of on my from my view.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you're like how about you
I'll look that up.
just share the window and I could just share it so everyone
Yeah,
can see
yeah.
quite
Let's do that.
quickly.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me find it here now. Yeah, here we go. Okay,
Yeah, it's
now
all good. You guys don't got to see me anyways. You know what I mean? The
I
camera's all screwed up. I'm sorry.
Oh, wait a second. Okay, now I can hear you again. Sorry about that. Accidentally muted you for a
Testing,
second.
testing, testing.
You're
Can you
good.
hear me?
Okay. All right, so we got your chart up.
Yeah, man. So, oftentimes the VWAPs like will be my target, but when it comes to getting an entry, it's tough to get a good entry in leverage trading, And if you use like Market Cipher to like give you your entry, it's tough to trust an oscillator to give you your entry. Usually, when it comes to like entering, I try to target like a specific price event, right? Like I want to see the price hit a certain level that I'm
Mhm.
intrigued about that might be like a strong high time frame resistance or support or something. And then like the market cipher like helps me pull the trigger. It helps me, it gives me those like lagging indications deeper into the trade that help me have more conviction in it. And so it's a combination of market cipher with high time frame support resistance, and then also I'll get out at it's like how like it's one thing to bet on this like rejecting here, but how deep does it go, And typically a healthy retracement level I've noticed is like last week's VWAP or like the 5-day SMA. And so typically this would call for like a little rejection off this high time frame monthly level. I basically
Mhm.
just entered this kind of short. Like I'm nothing crazy, like just trying
Yeah.
to catch this rejection off this high time frame support, plunge back into these like the 5-day SMA and like last week's VWAP since we are in a new week, right? It's basically it's the Tuesday candle already. So ideally, we're a little bit tired coming into a new week. We're exploring the top side. We're top fishing, trying to wipe out
Mm.
bears. And then, then now we have that plunge deeper and we create a more full weekly candle, And so I'm trying to catch that kind of like mean reversion uh, of the new weekly candle, even if it's a bullish weekly candle. Sometimes there's like a little move here we can take. So just stuff like that, man. I mean, this week's a little bit like trickier. This whole month's been
Mm.
trickier than last month because the levels that we have to work off of are the levels from last month, which suck, like that low put in October, different across all exchanges. So, I mean, catching the bottom was tricky in November because it's like what October lows levels on which exchanges do we even look at that we can trust?
Mm.
So November's been a tricky month for leverage traders and like just from like how I'm seeing on the charts, it has been personally trickier for me than October. In October, it was like payout after payout after payout. In November, it's kind of been like one step forward, one step back for me. I'm not sure
Mm.
about you, man, but let me know. Let me know how it's been for you the last week or so.
The last week, pretty good. More specifically the last few days, but before that, like honestly, like I was more in the like afraid to short throughout kind of, year dump down in October in there. So like honestly, like October wasn't like the best kind of. I was
Mhm.
like, to be honest with you, I was more just really concerned with my spot bags a lot. So I wasn't even like I was just the whole month of October, like I was just trying to decide, am I gonna take profits here for kind of the long-term spot bags that I'm way ahead on, or am I gonna try to try to run this out, for an extended, kind of cycle or whatever. That's kind of the thing that I was kind of trying to decide. And I kind of decided more on the, start to scale out towards kind of the end of October there. So that's kind of what I started. One of my techniques a lot of times that works pretty well, especially when you're in like, more of a crab market or, more sideways or bear market, anything aside from just going only up or only down kind of is, longing and shorting kind of at the same time, finding a decent long setup and finding a decent short setup with like a decent, good risk reward ratio, like a 2-to-1 at least on both of them. And then if you could win half of those trades, it would be pretty good. But I think I got lucky kind of last week. Like I did a short first that did pretty well, that printed, and I did a long that did pretty well. So like going back on that technique, longing and shorting at the same time, they both worked out this time. So I'm really happy with that. And like the degenerate in me like took a lot of my like spot gains and like put them into a leverage trading account. Don't do this, but but yeah, so not terrible, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, October for me. So it's not, sometimes you get too like, I think I was just too enamored with like the bullish case on a lot of things in October. So that's kind of why October.
Well, there was a good bullish case. Like in October started off with a really nice pop to the upside. We did get October. Like that's why October was the greatest month of trading for me in a long time, because we had everything. It's like we experienced every single emotion and like every twist and turn that could possibly happen in a single month. We experienced it in October. It was like literally a year of price action in 1 month. Like we came out the gate and we were bullish. Came up, created that all-time high. We went from being like, holy crap, we're going to Valhalla to like, oh my gosh, we're going to hell. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that downtrend was a strong downtrend after that wick. You pump back up and you just shorten that thing down, man. It's crazy. But November, though, I'm not exactly so quick to continue October's bearishness. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, October started bad, but October ended badly, but it started good. It established some initial hype in the beginning, and like the environment is changing. Like we're getting a Supreme Court hearing on Trump's tariff strategy. The government shutdown's ending soon because the Democrats, they won their election, so they have no need to be like holding the government hostage any longer. We've got the rate cuts. There's like a lot of things. There's like stable coin regulations and all sorts of shit going on that, in my opinion, kind of creates this like, it's a bullish narrative, like to end the cycle. And seasonality kind of dictates that the cycle could go on for like a couple extra months, just because like where the bull market began is kind of debatable. Like you could argue that it started like right at the start of 2023. But like the Heiken Ashis on the monthly, I'll show you like on the monthly chart. The monthly chart Heiken Ashis didn't really have the bull market starting until like Q2 or Q3 of like 2023. So and we're still in it too. It's like, look at this monthly trend, Evan. See the big white Heiken Ashi monthly trend here?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So we are definitely like, we're seeing a red candle here, but at the same time, if you smooth the monthly Heiken Ashi out, it's still in an uptrend. Like we're actually still in the point where any red that we see is just noise until we lose like 95K or something. And then we kind of start maybe to see like warning signs that the ship is turning around. But like, personally, I'm like erring on the side of hope, even though like earlier this year in the new year, I thought that could have been a top in the new year when we like first hit 100K. I did sell Bitcoin there. And that was a good play personally for me, because I was able to take that money and pivot into stocks. And like, I was able to grow that in the stock market. Stock market went on fire this year.
How were you smart enough to put it into the stock market and not put it into shit tokens like everyone else? I want to know.
Well, the stock market had been like, there was amazing plays like Palantir. In April there was AMD bottomed out. I was like, dang, like I really wanted to take that bet because it seemed like a no-brainer. And what's funny about my AMD play is like, I thought I bought an option, but I actually just bought the stock on AMD, but I set it and forget it, right? So like 2 months later, I looked and like AMD was way up, and I was like, I thought I got an option, so I was like, wait, am I like super rich? I checked my account, and I was up really, really good because I had bought a bunch of the stock. But That was
Mm,
like my best play in terms of the chart analysis of the year was actually AMD. And I had some other good like options plays on BBAI, Palantir. I longed NEM, Newmont
mm,
Gold Mining
okay.
Corporation. Couple
Okay.
couple of good plays in stocks, but just going back to Bitcoin real quick, like yes, I was bearish at the start of the year, but what happened is we ended up just kind of creating like a new all-time high every single quarter. And it just
Mm,
gets me thinking, man, like, are we being groomed to like not believe in that run that keeps on running? It's like we take the all-time high, and then it's like, oh, it's like we're rejected again over and over and over.
mm,
But every year around this time, if you remember, Evan, like throughout this bull run, this always happens the same way. Like we all kind of like lose our faith in the end of the year, and
yeah.
then boom, next thing you know, the seasonality hits, and there's like a major repricing event toward the end of the year. And so it's like I get that the cycle could be in danger from this point, but also the seasonality, if it does anything like it did the last like 2 or 3 years, it's like there should be a pop here. And actually, the monthly
Mm,
Heiken Ashi trend is supporting this not being the end. Also, when we go on the daily chart, I really like that we're bouncing off the VWAP from
yeah.
Trump's election. I anchored it here for you guys to see, but it's this pink line here, and you put that on the day Trump got elected. And not only was this line like the bubble that needed to be popped at the start of the year, so it was
Mm,
like a very relevant VWAP level here. It was also the level that we reclaimed and held really confidently without ever needing to go back to back in like May. And then now we're just now finally plunging into it. And we had this wick down into it. And now we really had that plunge, like the liquidity sweep, that kind of meaty looking bottom looking kind of moved down into there, you know? And so if
mm,
this VWAP can hold, even though we may take that low one more time, as kind of like maybe like a fake out or something, maybe. Um, Overall, this is like a little bit innocent until proven guilty to me, man. This is looking good. Like,
mm,
after the big dump that we saw last month, for instance, you had the Q3 high, you had like the Q3 low right here,
mm,
and we come in, we take that low. So an entire quarter of traders got completely wiped out by that wick. And yes, we've come down and we've taken out the new longers now. And so this is like, man, we've taken so much liquidity, and we're settling down here on this strong VWAP level. It seems convincing to me that like the VWAP from Trump's election could be the level that we get that final bounce from. I don't
mm.
know. What do you think, man? And that would be like poetic, wouldn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so the thing that I look at Bitcoin versus the S&P 500 a lot, and Bitcoin has still bled against the S&P 500 since July. Back in 21, Bitcoin peaked out against the S&P 500 actually in March of 21.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that there's a good shot. You're down about 20 or 30% against the S&P 500 right now. I think for the since July. I think there's a good shot. Yeah, I mean, if it looks like, I mean, a lot of things do line up with 2017 into 2018. So even that altcoin flush out that we saw in October to a certain extent. So a lot of that would align for like a bullish November, maybe a bullish December into January somewhat. I mean, you could have, green November and then some altcoins could finally ride in December I mean, QT ends December 1st. So I don't see a reason to completely fade in altcoin season. I think a lot of it,
No, not at all. Not at all.
yeah,
I think alt season, like the thing is if Bitcoin's cycle is about to end, then that means that there should be alt rotations, even though it's like a risky,
yeah,
precarious scenario. Because when we're trained to think that when Bitcoin dumps, these alts are going to just dump even harder, and it's like there's no hope. It's like we've been trained over the years. This has been a
mm,
Bitcoin cycle. It's been really tough for altcoin holders, but I mean, I've been saying that it's been a Bitcoin cycle for a while, as have you, as have most like
mm,
seasoned analysts, and like, because I mean, we're all pretty much in line with like a lot of the things Ben Cowan was saying, and
yeah,
we've been around long enough where it's like we've always kind of been Bitcoin guys, and we've always kind of cut out the noise of whatever the flavor of the month thing is for the cycle. So like I never saw any issue that either way, man. I think that it's as we're approaching this end of the Bitcoin 4-year cycle, it might actually be time to start looking at alt narratives. And like, it's like, what do we see? We see the Binance narrative coming like first, then the privacy coin narrative coming out of nowhere. And these are strong narratives. These aren't like crapper shitcoin, meme coin. This isn't like Peanut the squirrel or whatever, you know. This is like a real ass. These are like real ass like rotations into sectors that we're starting to see. It's catching people off guard, but isn't this like what we always thought was going to happen? Like as Bitcoin's cycle slows down, tops out slowly, alts start grumbling in the background, and to me, it seems likely that Bitcoin tops in like December or something, and then alts into the new year. But also like when that new quarter begins, like when January begins, the levels that we have from Q4 are like going to be the levels that we have to work off of. So, you know, this high that Bitcoin created at like $126,000, when the new year comes, like as soon as 2026 arrives, we may come and we may just take that level, and then that's the top. You know what I mean? Like, because it's a 3-month session coming to an end. A new 3-month session begins, and it's like, where's all the liquidity? It's going to be at whatever the Q4 high is or whatever the Q4 low is, whichever one we're closer to. You know, that liquidity is going to get taken. We're probably going to return back to the Q4 VWAP. So if it's a low, like let's say we go lower, you know, and then we go into January, maybe we come and we take that low one last time, and then we have a nice long setup in the new year for Bitcoin. Or the opposite scenario, if we're closer to the upside, we may take the all-time high one last time, then trade back down to the Q4 VWAP in the new year. So I'm not counting any of these levels out yet until like literally, I mean, the levels that we're currently working off of, like that 126K high, this thing is going to be in play for like the next 3 to 6 months. That's the way I see it, because it's a major quarterly scale high. It's the 3-month session high. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%, man. Yeah. I mean, there's just so much liquidity around those areas too that you mentioned. You know, you got a lot of the thing I was going to ask you about too is like, I feel like, you know, when you've been in these cycles enough time, when you've been following enough time, you kind of see history kind of at least rhyme to a certain extent. Like, you know, you're seeing a lot of like now the thing that scares the hell out of me is like you're seeing like Michael Saylor. I think his average entry is like 70 something K now. You know, he's leveraged up to the T. Like it seems like a lot of unnecessary risk for me. Like if somebody's going to go down and create a lot of fear, kind of like Tesla did in you know 2022 with selling or for whatever reason, I feel like it's going to be him in 2026. And then you see like a lot of boomers on Twitter talking about like you know, buying call options on Bitcoin right now, buying on leverage right now and all that. Like so there is that like kind of greed and degeneracy. Like I do see a lot of like kind of greed in the market. However, that could, like you mentioned, I mean, it could be months before that kind of gets flushed away. Like I remember there was one post by somebody and he's like, you know, I'm buying Bitcoin and leverage right now, but you know, we may go down to 95K to flush out some leverage, but I'm buying on leverage. And then I'm just thinking to myself, like if everyone buys in leverage right now, wouldn't that create more leverage that needs to be flushed out at lower areas? Like it's just kind of funny when you look at it logically a little bit. But yeah, I do think that you may have a chance. I mean, you saw Zcash run, you may have a chance for the alts. I'm definitely with you. You know, I still think that like if you look at history, most likely Bitcoin has topped out against the S&P 500 for the year. You know, I do think that if you look at the last time they ended QT, which was end of July of 2019, which was very interesting too, because if you look at like ETH versus Bitcoin during that time when they ended QT, ETH outperformed Bitcoin. And if you just looked at that chart, you would have thought that it was a bull market because ETH was outperforming Bitcoin. But no, things came down a good amount for like 6 to 8 months while ETH was outperforming Bitcoin. So with an end to QT, you may see more money kind of, to strengthen what you were saying, more money coming to ETH, more money to come into altcoins. The thing I definitely want to have you look at is Ethereum. I want to get your take on Ethereum, definitely. But I do think, especially Ethereum, Ethereum potentially outperforming Bitcoin and just Ethereum in general. I mean, do you think you got a shot at, hitting 5,000 by January, I guess, or, you know?
I definitely do, man. Like when you look at Ethereum here, Ethereum also is bouncing off of its Trump VWAP quite nicely. So it's mirroring Bitcoin, and it has like more upside. It can be more volatile than Bitcoin, in terms of like where it's at now. Like it's plunging into that Trump VWAP, getting that nice little bounce. Looks like on the daily we got a nice BitBoy green dot here, just like we do on Bitcoin. So on Bitcoin we've got that green dot. Same on Ethereum as well. So it's looking good. If Ethereum does well, that's really, really good for altcoins because I mean, you guys know the deal. Like it rotates, the money will rotate into Ethereum, and then it'll rotate into a lot of those like layer twos and stuff. So a bet on Ethereum is kind of a bet on altcoins in general because it like they create a lot of value. There's a lot of value in Ethereum, and it's just like the king of you could argue it's the king of cryptos, man, other than Bitcoin. So it's as of right now, like I think it could come up a little bit higher. It's tough to say, man. I took a trade, I took a short trade. I hope that Bitcoin comes down a little bit, then comes up. But to be honest, like all these cryptos are scooping up into a 5-day SMA uptrend here. You can see this gray line here. It was down. Now it's scooping up. So there's actually a chance that like we've already kind of bottomed out and we just kind of chop up from here. But also I am ready to like be bullish even if like the weekly low gets taken out one last time. I think that there's a chance of like some sort of double bottom or something as well. But that would mean that we like flip the 5-day trend back bearish again as well. So it's a little bit tricky, but
I wanted to ask you about the monthly, what you think of the monthly on ETH, because that is not a pretty chart right now, especially on market side.
No, the monthly on everything looks. Here's the thing about oscillators: is oscillators are either insanely leading or they're insanely lagging. You know what I mean? These moves that we're seeing end of year, we're in thick green money flow on Ethereum on the monthly. We do have a really scary bearish trigger wave facing us currently, but you have to look at what the actual price is doing. In my opinion, I mean, like look at the 2-day. This is a really strong potential buy signal on here on the 2-day. And so I'm at the point where this monthly wave, yes, it could be leading, but also it's also if you just subscribe to this red dot here and you close your eyes and bury your head in the sand, you may miss something truly like amazing. Something on these there's other high time frames painting a slightly different picture here, So we got to be flexible to the idea of a monthly wave turning around. It can be tricky. Like on Bitcoin, for instance, the monthly wave this cycle has been different than most. Like look at this monthly wave on Bitcoin, a 3-headed wave, and it's like, are we ready for a 4th? You know what I mean?
That looks so freaking scary to me too. That's when was that? Yeah, that first or that last what month did that last one confirm? Or I was curious. That was a few months ago. I think that was September that confirmed, or August or something. That last.
Yeah, one. I mean, this was the new year. I thought this could have been a top on Bitcoin in the new year. It kind of made sense that maybe the cycle could have ended early because everyone knows the 4-year cycle exists. So I was thinking maybe it does get front ran, and the halvening came early, right? So it's like maybe there was like or all-time high came before the halvening. So I thought maybe there was some left translated stuff going on or something, but I thought that could have been a top. Then I got proven wrong, and it's like something happened that never happened before, which is it's like every bull run we had a 2-headed wave, and then we got a 3-headed wave, and so it kind of shattered my religious adherence to oscillators. I realized it's like we don't really have that much data on Bitcoin to go off of. We've only got like 16 years of data, So
Yeah.
it's not like anything we see on any indicator is going to really accurately like give us an insanely clear picture of what Bitcoin does.
Sure.
But yeah, man, this monthly wave, it is a bad one, but also it's not down and out yet. We're still at extremely high levels of momentum, and a lot can happen in a month. We could go and take the all-time high again and then crash again, you know. So by the end of the
Mm.
month, who knows what could happen. But
It
um
does look very heated though in general. Like that does look
oh
kinda
yeah.
scary.
Oh
Like,
yeah. Like, I was talking to my brother on my stream
yeah.
yesterday. We are gnawing on the bone marrow, man. I mean, there's like a carcass, and we are hyenas gnawing on the bones of the carcass right now
Mm.
toward the end of a cycle, you know? So we're in the riskiest, frothiest time to believe for sure. And that's why if you're not an experienced leverage trader, you know, you might want to learn how to you might want to start learning how to trade, because if this is the end, then you don't really just want to be like an up only kind of spot holder kind of guy, you know. And if you're buying
Mm.
any currently, it's kind of a 3 month play. You know, it's not really like, oh, buy Zcash and hold on to it forever or anything like that. Like, this is kind of where we are approaching the end. I'm not telling you guys that we're just going to keep going and it's all smooth sailing. Like, the end is coming. The end could come at any time. And when the end comes, it's like a 50% crash. It's a very unforgiving uh, thing that traps you in there. So, yeah, man, I'm at the point now where I'm less of a Bitcoin holder and more just like really fully transitioning into the trading, because that's where I feel like we're
Mm.
headed. You know, we're going to get this blow offy kind of top, but a lot of big reversals and a lot of big downside moves as well. You know.
Yeah, yeah, no, 100%. How about you look at Zcash? Curious in your, that's the only thing that's, that's did you see what their CEO looks like?
Oh yeah, it's like a tranny or something. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
funny, man.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like that in my life. I don't know. That's probably a sell. That I think that was the top when everyone saw who that was. So sell signal so far for that.
It could have been. It could have just been a weekly scale little correction. I
Yeah.
mean, the daily Heikin-Ashi trend still very bullish. The momentum still insanely strong with thick money flow. Yeah, it's to say what you want about the trannies. You know,
Well, let's be politically correct. Transgendered. I don't know if tranny is the best term to use. Transgendered.
sorry, yeah, sorry about that.
You're good.
I got no problem with that, especially if you're like, you know, especially if you're an agent of freedom, the empowered individual. Yeah, man, we keep an open mind, and crypto people will follow anybody who's like believes in
Yeah.
privacy and the things we believe in, man. So I don't think that was the reason. I think the charts usually explain
Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
going on. You know, we came into a weekend, you know, they topped out on a Friday and we're just cooling off, you know, for the weekend. We'll probably be up there again. I think that privacy is a really strong narrative. It's the strongest altcoin narrative, in my opinion, because it's the real use case of crypto. So I like seeing privacy coins pumping. Would I buy some right now? No. I would go on a large time frame, such as maybe the weekly or like the 4 day or
This
something.
all looks atrocious.
Look
Yeah.
at where you know, look at the Heikin-Ashi down there. Try
Yeah.
to get an entry down here. You know, it's like if you could
Mm.
get an entry down in a more high time frame, but still along with the uptrend, I think that's the best bet for this. I definitely am not FOMOing in, even though that may be a mistake. It may just keep trudging along, but I've been kind of taking it a little bit cautious. I have no FOMO as a leverage trader. If I want to generate like volatility in my portfolio, like I totally can any day of the week. I don't need a special altcoin rally to take place, or like, you know, it's like the big dump that happened. Like I don't need events like that to generate trading opportunities. Like I'll just turn the leverage up, you know. So I've kind of removed myself from the hype, the hype cycles and stuff personally, and like I'll just trade what I see when I see it week to week. But I support this Zcash pump. I hope it comes back over its rising 5-day MA. It's going to take a lot to turn this train around. Like this 5 MA, we have lost it for sure. So in the coming days, there's a chance that the 5 MA slopes down. we enter a 5-day downtrend on Zcash and things
Mm,
do get worse on it. But I wouldn't be shorting Zcash. It's in a very like at least we saw the high time frame trend, right? So you
yeah.
won't see me shorting it. If anything, though, if it has a nice plunge, like I might look to buy some.
Yeah. It's always like when the hype is, so many people are probably trying to short it, so it becomes hard. They kind of hunt that. The market makers start to hunt that liquidity and all that, and you can't really short it many places, and it definitely will get it listed on more exchanges now, unless some of them
Mhm.
are afraid of the privacy coins. I think some of them don't like the privacy coins, but like I don't think you short it on Bybit. I don't even think you can, or can you leverage trade it on Bybit? Maybe you
You
can
can
now.
trade Zcash on Bybit, but you can't trade Zcash on Breakout. So
Okay, yeah.
yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. Because you would think you would be able to because the breakout is Bybit, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think they share the same liquidity or something. But yeah, I don't know, man. I couldn't find the Zcash on there. They put Aster up and they're like, oh, you guys like Aster, right? Like that was cool. But yeah, they didn't put
Mm.
Zcash up.
Um, yeah, I saw you were looking at Farcoin. Do you still mess with Farcoin?
I was still, yeah, I mean, I still look at it. It had a
Mm.
good shorting in this downtrend after it did take that plunge was
Looks a little
amazing.
gassy here,
It was
man.
absolutely amazing. What was that?
Looks a little gassy. Looks a little gassy.
Oh yeah, yeah, dude. I actually thought that this I thought Fartcoin honestly could have done something amazing going into like we were going into Q4. Let's see here. Okay, okay. Boom. Okay, so I was thinking like, if we take the October or like the September low, I thought this could have been a long from here to go back up
Oh,
like that. But that trade did not like immediately. There was not even like a 10-minute chart sign of strength at all. Like this thing was just dying. So I'm like, okay, this is a lot bigger of a liquidity sweeping event than I thought. I was in here like in this wick, just on 2x, Evan, trying to
mm.
like catch the bottom here. I had a position get liquidated, dude. I like a
Uh,
thousand dollars just like evaporated instantly because
uh,
like it went from like 20 cents to like 10 cents. I was like, oh my gosh. But overall, though, that week was amazing because it had came back up and then it
mm,
provided some really nice shorts on the declining 5MA. We had a really strong downtrend here. And it's been just kind of moving slow. Like the thing about Fartcoin is it'll move slow and it'll be like, oh, it's not even worth trading this thing compared to like anything else. But once it starts moving, it's actually insane. So I always take a peek at Fart. Did it have a high time frame liquidity sweeping event? And it did kind of recently. Like we had a previous low, it came down and took that and formed a new bottom here. It recently has just started a daily. See the daily
mm.
smooth Taikanashi is starting to turn positive here as Fartcoin is creating a new uptrend here. So that's the kind of stuff I look at. Like, is there a new uptrend forming on Ethereum? It looks like it's about to form here. It's a little bit sleepy, still coming back to life.
Mm.
A lot of altcoins, look, Cardano. It's like the altcoins are starting to on the daily chart potentially repair their smooth Taikanashi trends, which like kind of a big signal potentially. You know, like on all these altcoin charts, I have that Trump VWAP mapped out on every coin, and I feel like there's a chance that we return to these Trump VWAPs across cryptos. Like I think
It's
Solana
not
could
far
come back up.
away at all. Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
far
not at
away.
all. Yeah, not at all. It's a pretty normal looking move here. So that's where I'm at, man. I think that yeah, like very very short term could have a little pullback into the rising 5MA because we are still clawing our way out of a downtrend. But overall, like I'm hopeful for the rest of November. I think there was a narrative shift. Like usually in a quarter, the trend is established in the first month of the quarter, and then it just keeps going for the rest of the quarter. It's like a big uptrend or a big
Mm.
downtrend. But this quarter, I'm hoping is different. Like it started off really bad, but the narrative is shifting. We've got this all of a sudden there's like rulings on tariffs, there's rate cuts, there's all sorts of stuff changing like the macro environment, and stocks have held up really good, so there's actually hope that if November flips bullish, then the quarter could reestablish itself as a bullish quarter, and then
Mhm.
December becomes very bullish. So I'm really looking at how we do in this month of November to dictate kind of like how December will go. But yeah, man, the alts. I mean, I'm banking on. I'm hopeful. I know you're a more hopeful analyst too. A lot of people are like quick to be bearish whenever they can be, but I've appreciated your like overall like positive approach and like sticking it through to the end of the cycle. You've always let people know of the warnings and the downsides and stuff, but believing is a really powerful skill. And in the next bear market,
Mm.
it's gonna be what makes or breaks us. Like if we get a bear market, are we going to give up and walk away, or is there still something there to pick up the pieces and get the next bull cycle? I know it sounds crazy to think about it all starting over again, but yeah, man.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, I think I've been scaling out. Kind of my strategy was always to, scale out from October 1st to December 31st. And then I was more optimistic in October. So I actually waited until like the end of October. Then I sold 30% at the end of October. And since then I've been just scaling out a little bit into the end of the year, which I think is kind of statistically the best strategy. And I would
Mhm.
only miss out on a little bit, if we go into like the end of January or something. But that's to be seen. I guess the macro makes me a little bit afraid right now, like the real macro. And I think the thing for if you want an altcoin season, I think we need to get retail really back in the seat. And we haven't seen that like retail interest, that retro retail interest in a long time. So I don't know if you'll see it, but I do think I'm with you. I do think like a lot of your like big name altcoins could at least return to that Trump VWAP, and I think that's the big question. The interesting thing that I looked at is, if you really follow big money, big balls money, like there was a Bitcoin wallet that bought in like 2014 or 2013, and like it became worth $1 billion back in like July or June or something.
Yeah.
And that wallet was finally moved after like 15 years, or not 15, maybe like 12 years or so, 10 years or something. And they sold, back in July. And if you look at July, July was not the top, obviously, but when they sold in July, I would guess somebody with $1 billion worth of Bitcoin, like what would they have put that money into? I would guess the S&P 500. I would guess the stock market probably. And that's when Bitcoin peaked out against the S&P 500. It was July. So that's an interesting, kind of area right there. And yeah, it was 120K. So like
Mhm.
sometimes that billionaire money, like they just kind of dictate how it moves. Um, the thing I would ask you is like, I mean, everyone's talking about like, extended cycle because of the institutions, all that. I think that's largely BS. I still think you can come down. I think there's a lot of like long-term greed in this market. Like there are a lot of people doing call options and leverage on not like leverage trading, just leverage because they want more Bitcoin, who have no business doing call options. You know what I mean? So that kind of concern, and the same thing you saw in 2021 throughout. So and Sailor, like I would ask you two things here. Like, what do you think, like with all the incident, like what do you think is like our worst? Like, can we still have a 70+% correction for Bitcoin, in 2026? And two, do you think Sailor could be, in trouble if we do like go below 70K or some of these areas?
Yeah, man. I think it's inevitable that Michael Saylor gets round tripped, and like the
Mm,
problem with never selling is like I coach traders out of this problem all the time. And Saylor's strategy, like the flaw in it, is that he never sells, and it may pay off. It may pay off, and he may have timed the market perfectly where this cycle is the cycle of institutional adoption. It's not next cycle, but like that's a tough bet to take. It's what if
mm,
it's just next cycle? where all that stuff happens, and it's like 5 years from now, in that time, man, the squeeze could really be put on him. And like with trading, if you are never taking profits, you're always the market will always take it back. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that he's just sitting there as this sitting duck and he's never going to sell, it does put him at that risk. It's like that is the risk he's taking, is getting round tripped and going through a bear market. MSTR has taken a dip recently, but it's already kind of at its range lows here. Like on the daily, MSTR is already looking really nice and oversold. Like it potentially is like coming to a bottom. So I'm not sure if now is the time to fade MicroStrategy on the chart. I'm not going to say anything too negative about Saylor like I was at the start of the year. But yeah, start of the year I was
what were you saying negative about Saylor at the start of the year? I was curious. What were you saying?
There's plenty of problems with MicroStrategy. Like if you go to MicroStrategy's site, it's just a merch store. Like this company generates nothing other than like hype around Bitcoin. It's like a joke. Like his company's more of a joke than mine. And it's basically like his like personal landing page, It's like a link tree. It's like Michael Saylor's link tree, bro. Like this, I'm telling you, man, like this is to me, it's a bullshit stock, and it's a bullshit thing that he's doing. Just kind of like pulling leverage out his ass from everywhere and not worrying about like the year to year shareholder value. Like if anything, we're in Saylor's funny like fantasy land where he gets to dump his stock on you and he gets rich off of you believing in his Bitcoin strategy.
Yeah.
And he never has to sell any of his Bitcoin because he gets to sell you. He gets to dump on you, So it's like screw you, Saylor. That's the way I think about it. If he got round tripped and shit canned and tarred and feathered, I would kind of like feel like he deserves it. But at the same time, MicroStrategy on the daily already pretty oversold. Bitcoin potentially getting that blow off top. But the thing is Michael Saylor going to sell any Bitcoin at that top? If he does, then he self-actualizes the top in the markets, right? And then that really will be the top. And if he doesn't, well, then someone else, it's like you said, a whale is going to come out of nowhere. And like a whale always asks, like, what's the best price I could sell, or what's the best price I could long? It'll be at an all-time high, or it'll be at a low,
Yeah.
So we're going to go to that all-time high. And if Saylor doesn't sell, well, someone else is. Some ancient dinosaur wallet is going to come out and they're going to sell. It's like they're the ones who dictate when the top is in, not us, So we got to see when these whales start really dumping on us. And, for now, like I said, the monthly trend is intact, but we're at the end, you know what I'm saying? Last 3 to 6 months of the run. So
what's that? How do people get up that white Heikin Ashi indicator you have?
It's a free indicator. It's called Smooth Heikin Ashi, SHA.
Okay.
And gotcha. It just allows, it's what I like is that I get to keep the standard candles and get all the precision of that standard candle data. But the Smooth Heikin Ashi gives me, it cuts out the noise, man. Like if you just had simply followed this since the beginning of the bull run, bro, like not a single red candle would have rocked your conviction, So that's what I've learned is, see this point in Bitcoin, like this right here is a point where I'll be a lot more comfortable about telling my following that, man, this really could be the end. You know what I mean? But for the time being, it seems like we're kind of somewhere here or somewhere like here, maybe. Yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure. It's still up. It's still very strongly. It's not even like sideways up. It's just like a very steep slope to the upside here. So it's a tough one to call, man. Obviously this oscillator could be leading, could call a big macro top correction. That would be insane. But also I'm mindful that, oscillators can be lagging. You got to look at the big picture and all these other time frames. You look on the daily and we do have a BitBoy green dot. So it's almost like you got to wait for that to get like invalidated or something to like kind of count these bulls out for now. Because I mean, the level that we're bouncing off of is a crazy strong VWAP level. Even if it's just a normal retracement and then more down, It's the nice little bounce here off this Trump VWAP. So yeah, man.
Mm. Two people have been asking about Arrow in the chat. Two different people. Have you looked at Arrow? I'm not too even. I've
I'm
heard.
not sure about the Arrow. I'm not sure about Arrow. I don't really know much about them, but I'll take a look at the chart. What's cool about VWAPs is like they'll paint a narrative for you kind of regardless of what you know about
People like it because it's jumping right now. I see. Yeah.
it's coming up. But yeah, look what happened. Arrow, you know, it was struggling around its election day VWAP all year. But then we came up and we created some nice traction here. Yeah, we got that Death Wick event, but so did every other crypto. It's actually reclaimed its election day VWAP. And yeah, these crypto loving Trump people are keeping this thing alive, man. So we've reclaimed that Trump VWAP. You know, let me check market cipher. I see waves kind of trending to the upside on the
Mm,
daily, on a little tight weekly trigger wave here. This could be a big one. Look already so far. Look at that amazing move
yeah.
off just that little the tight pinching there of the weekly wave. That's crazy, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
2 week has turned up here. So yeah, man. I don't know much about Arrow. I mean, I don't we'll have to see. But I mean, we talked about me and Evan were telling you guys that it is if it is closer to the end of a Bitcoin cycle, this is when alts kind of do their thing. And we just had a major liquidity hunting event. So the longers have been destroyed. You know, so these
Yeah.
pumps that we're seeing are happening after like the biggest liquidation event we've ever seen. It makes sense that we're seeing these pumps right now, you know? So you know, it's when a lot of times when you see a big crash, that can be a sign of the end. But altcoins are following what Bitcoin is doing, and Bitcoin didn't have a crash like that. Bitcoin didn't have a bull run ending 50% crash that flips the monthly trend bearish and screws everything up.
Mm,
Bitcoin is still holding a solid trajectory for now. And so that kind of gives that resilience is giving alts this chance to like kind of pump back up from that terrible October price action and stuff. But that's where I'm at, man. No matter what alt you guys have me look at, I'm just gonna look at how it's doing around the VWAP from election day. I'm gonna look how it's recovering from that October low sweep. And even though we're, you know, there's some things that are still pretty bearish. I would say like after a plunge into like the rising 5MA, if you can get a nice bounce down there at like last week's VWAPs, you know, it's like a little healthy retracement. Hopefully we see the uptrend continue from that point later this week. That's my hope. If not, it's all good. I think there's one more chance to catch like double bottoms on stuff. Like if Bitcoin double bottoms, one more chance to long there. If that doesn't hold, then I'll probably be looking lower. Looking at
yeah.
Bitcoin here. There is like a little area I'm looking at, kind of down here at like 92. There's a little box here. You know, it's like if we did come down into here, that's a really nice little area in the chart to satisfy price going back down to. Something my friend Crypto Crank showed me last night is that Bitcoin has been liking these 50% retracements. Like if you do fibs from like bottom to top, you'll
Mm,
see like last year Bitcoin faded this golden retrace here, and then like the bull run continued. So like if we did that again, if we took a fib from this line, dragged that to the top,
mm,
Crank was saying that we could come down here like one last time, but fade that 618 retrace and come back up still. Because I mean
wow.
that Trump VWAP is still sloped up real good. So like even if we did lose this one last time, Evan, like I actually still would be like a little bit hopeful, you know, because man, it's like you look at that monthly trend, and even if this thing wicked down below it, the overall trajectory of it is still like up. You know, it's like
Mm,
there's not going to be a dump that really sticks really hard and stays dumpy and like we just dump like there's not going to a point where you can short a bottom and come out on top until like later on next year or something. You know, Like right now, it's still got a lot of horsepower in it. Still, you can't just willy nilly like short bottoms and long. I mean, you can't long tops either. You know, you can't be a dumbass right now. It's like it takes skill to time these moves and stuff. So yeah, people who are being a little too bearish at like 99K, they got their followers wrecked, you know, because what they should have done is they should have been bearish up here when we were taking the previous quarterly high. In my VIP, we caught this move because we had created a false Sunday high. The Monday came, we swept that high. So week to week, it was showing me a top, but then also quarter to quarter, Q3 top, Q4 top. You see what I mean? Like I got my VIP into that move, but we got out at some healthy retracement levels like long before that macro crazy dump. So I like to get my payout and get the hell out. I don't want to sit in a trade all week. If I see $6,000 on my breakout account, I'm taking that shit, you know? So I could have made $100,000 on my breakout account if I held that shit, but it's
if
all
you got
good.
out
Like,
at the exact, if you got out at the bottom though, wicked up real quick.
That's not what this is about though. You know, my strategy over many quarters, I don't need to do that, especially on like my client funded account. That would ruin my stability score anyways. So it's not about gambling on like, you know, you don't got to gamble. Just trust the process. You know, get out at that healthy retracement level. Like I may be shorting right now, trying to, but I probably won't hold this thinking it's going to go lower. I'll probably get out at like 103.5, you know? If it even goes down there, I might get stopped out and just not even trade anymore until like next week. So
108's a big point. If we continue here, I think 108 is the big area that I had because that's kind of like your old scene of the crime. If you zoom out a little bit more, because that's like 108's like previous. Zoom out like maybe on the daily.
Well, I do see I got high time frame levels mapped. So like last week's high is up at like 110,005. So man, if this September low level doesn't hold, if bulls can break out of this, there's like a clear shot all the way up to like 110, which is crazy to think about. So I was thinking that this is a stiff resistance region. Like we came out into a new week. So the timing is such that you would get a healthy retrace. I don't mind taking a bet here that this is going to go down just a little bit, but I have to say that you know, we're in a rising 5-day uptrend. If I got stopped out, I wouldn't be surprised, but also if we came down, I wouldn't be surprised either. That's where I'm at, man. It's you know, I can't claim to know exactly how these like little medium term moves are going to go down, but I did take a short. This is the play that I took is like I shorted that recent candle that we got, and I just wanted to trade down to like here and then get out, you know? So that's where I'm at currently. If that doesn't work, well, then we're probably going all the way up to last week's highs, man. We're probably busting out of here and actually seeing something insane. I mean, geez, that move, if you complete that move, that is like that's like more evidence that this Trump VWAP is goated. You know what I mean?
Freaking yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I think, you know, we got to see if you know, the government reopening that could be sell the news. We got to see how that plays out. That could be sell the news. We got to see if, you know, this last potential rate cut in December if that's the last one, you know, then the next one could be a pause. The last time we paused was January. You know, that was when things turned bearish. So there's all those type of things. The last thing I wanted to ask you today is I don't know if you followed it, the Tom Lee thing with the BMNR, and there's the SBET. They're trying to do what Saylor did with Bitcoin with Ethereum. I don't know if you've looked at those at all. Though I would say with those, the sequels so far has been a lot worse than the original. They haven't done too well, but I would be curious if you think those have any potential.
Man, I don't know much about that stuff. I can't speak on something I'm not
Gotcha.
That's not really my jurisdiction, bro. I'm super like locked into. You're a way better like news guy and keeping up with the goings on than I am, man. I'm super locked into like just the price. You know, like did we take last week's high? Did we take low? I'm so dialed in on that.
I'll just
trying to scale my trading and stuff. So I'm so like I'm like focused on my own results so hard that I miss a lot of things going
You
on.
you didn't miss anything with it. It's just been yeah, they were trying to do what basically Sailor did with MicroStrategy with Ethereum. If you go to
Well,
the ticker,
I got to take on that. I got to take on that. Then I think that the like seeing all of these treasury companies popping off, like it's like railroad mania, like back in like the 1800s or whatever.
mm,
There was all these railroads getting passed by the Congress or whatever to get more and more railroads laid down because everyone thought that railroads were like the future of transportation. The problem is that so many there it was like laissez-faire, like and
mm,
they were basically approving any and every railroad just to get the money coming in and just to get and they were telling everyone to invest in all these railroad companies. But the problem is we didn't need that many railroads, and so most of these companies went to shit. You know,
yeah,
there was only 2 railroad companies that really made it. Everything else was a scammer or an imposter. Like there was railroad companies who came in, took everyone's money, and left. You know, it's like it was a total scam. There was one railroad that was laid down like right down the middle of the Capitol building, and it was like this like image of irony. It's like, look what the legislators did. It's like now we got a railroad coming through our freaking office here, you know. Um,
that's
so
insane.
yeah, so but that's the lesson. I think the same about ETFs as well. Like if every crypto gets an ETF, maybe that's a bad sign. You know, it shows kind of
It,
waters down
yeah.
what ETFs are if everyone and their mother thinks they can do it, you know. So when it comes to treasury companies and ETFs, that's 2 cases of like I'm very mindful that if that gets overblown, it kind of reminds me of that railroad mania where it's like, all righty, you know what I'm saying? Like this is too many instances happening in such a short period of time. Can't we let a couple years go by and see if there's even interest in this many crypto ETFs, or can't we see if this really is an institutional bull run before everyone and their mother opens a treasury company? It's
Mm,
like this could really end badly.
exactly.
That's my
Yeah.
take
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah, I mean that's I 100% agree, and those stocks have done bad. They haven't even I don't even think they outperformed Ethereum. Those have been total kind of duds. The so we've been on, let's see, a little over an hour. Caught like one or two fun questions to ask you. Any goals? End of decade. It's 2030. Where do you think Bitcoin could be? At the end of the maybe a range by 2030, a nice goal or
By
something.
2030, man, we could be up over 250K. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? I think that we could definitely be, I don't know, 200K, 200. Who knows, man? It could go really crazy after like the next little like bear market we have. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to give up hope. But yeah, next 5 years, I think that's enough of a time horizon where we see the next big leg up before that time. I don't think it'll take that long. And I'm bullish on like this whole community, like by that time too. Like I think we're all gonna be multimillionaires and chilling, man. And who cares at that point what the charts are doing? Like
Yeah.
hopefully we've all figured out trading and we've all figured out our careers to a point where we're agnostic to such things, and we could proudly say that like crypto was our vehicle to get there. But um yeah, I'm bullish on the next 5 years, on all you guys and everything that's going on. If I came out and said, "Oh, we're screwed. This is all messed up," and all that stuff, I would just sound like a negative person because who the hell knows that far in advance?
Yeah, I mean,
That's totally enough time for the next cycle to come through and do its thing. So
one more fun question. Let's say it's 1 year from now, it's end of 26. What had the best 2026 out of these three things? Bitcoin, gold, or the S&P 500? If you had to make an educated guess, 1 year from now, what did the best?
I think that there's a chance that Bitcoin catches up like Heinz, bro. Like
Okay.
if this bounce plays out and we get that seasonal end of year repricing, everyone's saying that Bitcoin is lagged against the what the hell is it called? The M2 money supply,
Yeah.
lag behind gold, S&P, all that stuff. But there's a chance that rotating out of Bitcoin now is a mistake, I
Mm,
like I they're all going to be great investments a year from now. I mean, I don't know, man. I can't tell
it's
you,
so
man.
high now. Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm really proud with how gold has done. You know, gold's been going great. The S&P's been going great. That's both of those things doing well is like a good sign for Bitcoin. Like those, they provide the backdrop for Bitcoin to do well at the end of its cycle. So I hope it's Bitcoin, man. As a Bitcoin guy, do you guys expect any other answer from me other than to tell you that I hope it's Bitcoin? Like I really hope that Bitcoin outperforms the stock market and gold, and these people get eggs in their face. That's my hope.
Yeah, yeah, I would say so too, man. I would say so too. It's just more of the question. I think the big question obviously is 2026 like 2018, 2022, or is it a little bit different?
Um,
And that's
the
impossible.
stock market realistically probably does outperform by then. You know, we probably do cool off majorly. You know, we may not be like at all-time highs by then on Bitcoin yet. It may take longer than that. It may take till next cycle, but you know, the S&P is probably the way to go for the safest bet. But
Yeah.
also it's like the safer bet isn't always the most rewarding. Like I think Bitcoin could pay off betting on Bitcoin. Yeah.
Gotcha, man. Well, thanks so much for coming on. That was a good hour, a good discussion. A lot of sense there, a lot of good trading, scenarios, good trading strategies there. I know you've been crushing it this year a lot. Do you have any parting words for traders in the chat? Any last,
Yeah.
bits of advice?
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on the channel. And when it comes to you guys and your trading, don't give up, man. You know, it's like learning how to trade can be daunting, but when you see people who are doing it, there's a lot of people who tell you it can't be done, but don't let them interrupt the people who are showing you that it can be done. And you know, support the ones who are real and showing the process and stuff. And just know that up or down, this is a skill that like you'll carry for the rest of your life, and it's a really important skill to learn. Hoping on things just going up or like just hoping things will go down, like that's not the way to do this, man. So we're on the right path. We're here where we need to be. We just got to keep going, and like regardless of what the market does, like we're gonna make ground. You know, that's the name of the game. So um, that's all I got to say, man. God bless you guys. Thank you, Evan, for having me on, bro. And I'll be back on the channel again soon, man.
Thanks so much, man. I'll see you.
Mhm.